A tall ship in a turbulent sea. It makes for a great painting, and it probably scares you to think about painting a tall ship in a turbulent sea. I'm going to show you that it's not as hard as it looks. I did this one on a greeting card like I do a lot of my paintings. And one thing I want to tell you about painting on greeting cards, it's, first of all, for me, it's just a way of giving something to somebody else. But you know what else it is? It serves you as an artist, because you don't have to look at it as a finished painting. You can look at it as a sketch. You can look at it as a preliminary. It's really a great idea to do some small sketches with paint, not with pencil. I mean, you can start with pencil, but paint it out. Make it small, make it easier, maybe not easy, but easier. And I think I'm talking to myself because I do this a lot. When I do a larger painting, if I start out large, I often realize that I probably could have done something different. And then at that point, it's too late. So the times when I've started out small, like this, and then said, okay, let's make that 16 by 20 or 18 by 24. Then you can take this as your reference photo. Even if you had a reference photo for this becomes your reference photo for that. Does that make sense? And you've already done it. You've already done it. So you already know all the little nooks and crannies. You already know all the little nuances and the little tricks and the little techniques that you use. So there are two reasons to do small pictures like greeting cards. One is the main reason I started this, which is just to give cards to people. But the second one really does serve you as an artist and serve all of us, because later on, if you take one of them, and I have quite a few actually that I have in my mind a plan to one day do a larger picture. This might be one of them. This might be one of the small paintings that becomes a larger painting. All right, that's enough intro. The narration on the following video is partially done after the fact because I stopped talking. So if you hear me reading this wonderful poem, oh my gosh, the poem is called, let me look it up again, it's called The Smell of the Sea by Cicely Fox Smith. So you'll hear me read that poem and you'll see me painting, and you're going to wonder, how is it possible that you can paint and read a poem at the same time? Well, it's because I did not all of the narration, but some of the narration that you're about to hear was done after the fact, just so you know. Just so you know. All right, let me show you how I did this. And trust me, it looks complicated. It looks like it might be difficult, but I promise you it's not that hard. Okay? I'm a little boy at heart. I just want this thing to be rocking in the water. All right, let's go. All right, let's get this ship set sail. Let's set sail on the ship. So we want the bow of the ship to go right here. Big old bow just popping right out of the picture. Right there. Right there, just come down here. And then the edge of it right there. Make sure we get this big old piece here. Get it all sketched in there. And of course we're going to have the sea. Very rough. Very rough. It's hitting all the waves. And you got to keep a lot of this white because of watercolor. I mean, unless we come back and use gouache. get this side here. It goes down, and the waves come up here at this end. Looks like the back of the ship's got this piece here. Boom, boom, boom. And then go back to the end where it drops into the water, the back of the ship. Did I make it too high? I made it too high because those sails have to be way up here. So I have to do it all over again. Alright. I'm learning like the rest of you. I'm learning. You gotta plot it out first. So it's gotta start way low here. It's gotta be way low here. I kinda don't want it too low because I want to make sure I get those waves in there. But here we go. Here we go, right there. The back of the ship comes forward and it goes big old right here. Right there. And this comes down. Right like that. So on this side, it almost bevels out like that. There we go. And then these waves here. So there we go. And then this down here comes across that front area right there. It's probably their living quarters. All these waves here. Pull. Gotta make sure we got lots of waves here, lots of crashing waves. Crashing waves all over the place, right here. And of course, a lot of rough sea, a lot of roughness going on here. All right, now let's get to these sails. The sails. This tall mast right here. That big tall mast. It's got the sails. It's got this sail up here. And then this one under it. The shadows are going to help on here too. And then this big one here. This big old sail right here. Comes over here. Over here we got this, not sure what this is, but it's a big old sail. It comes down and around. And underneath here you got this other one that's sort of in the picture. And behind this one you have all of this mast here. You have a sail, a flag up there. Just a flag flying, not sure what that flag is. And Down here. Here you have this one. And this one. All these cells. And in the back you have a few more. The wind carries all of these. Wind carries the whole ship. This one has a mast. There are all these vertical lines on here. Lots of vertical lines. Let me erase some of my mistakes here. Some of these need to be here. And of course, some of these lines here. And all these waves, lots of waves. And then, of course, the horizon where all that stormy sky is going to be. I mean, a good half of the picture is the stormy sky. So let's start with that stormy sky. I think I have the sketch done pretty good. So what I want to do is I want to get some dark blue. So to get that, I'm going to mix blue with black and just smear it everywhere. Just get it everywhere except for the boat. Get the whole sky painted. Lots of areas of dark and light. Let the sky be threatening and stormy. Just keep those sails white. Keep those sails white. We'll come back to them. We'll come back to the sails. Just get it white. Keep them white. Let's get this sky a very stormy mess. These seas to be rough. I have a poem from Cicely Fox Smith I want to read to you. Just get this sky. And the city would have a similar look to it. Would have a similar, but of course the waviness, we'll add the waviness later. Get these waves in there. That's all going to be white waviness. Get this one, C, wavy C. All right, there we go. Now let's go ahead and get the ship, the dark colors of the ship, and put them in place. As long as everything is dry, I can do this. So the ship has a very defined shape right there. And a very defined shape on this side, of course. Very defined. Now let's get this over here. Let's get that line. Let's get this ship down into the water. go. Let's do the same on this side. A little bit of an edge right there. We're going to bring it down here. There we go. And the ship. Has a little bit of a lighter blue, I think, on this side because of the reflections. So I'm going to try to do that and see if I can make that happen. A little bit of a lighter blue. That fades into that black. And the lighter side of the ship. It's a very reflective ship. Keep that light. Okay, now we need to gradually get this black into there. And then at the top part, where their living quarters are, it looks like it's darker because of the shadow. There we go. A couple of other areas here. This looks like it comes around here like this. There we go. Now if we just gradual do that with the gradual, let the water kind of do its thing. There we go. Here we go. Alright, let's get this wet right there. I'm going to use some of this orange or brown, whatever this is, right here. Right there. A little bit of that right there. Let it be reflective. Same thing here. And then once that's dry, it looks dry now. And put these little holes, these little windows, whatever they are, little portholes. Okay. I need to get some of that blue and that blue-green into the sea a little bit. Just keep working it until it looks right. Let's get some of that light brown. Some of this big brown on the bottom of these. Maybe I could even use, I don't know, maybe I should use a blue for that. A little bit of that blue, I think. Get the shadow of these, the sails. The tops of the sails are pure white, but the bottoms are shadowed. The sky is dark behind everything. Get some more waves in here. So now I'm adding some narration after the fact, because as I was painting it, I just stopped talking. I just didn't know what to say, I guess, or I was just so involved with the painting. I'll be honest with you, I was somewhat uptight about this one. I was a little bit nervous that I wasn't going to be able to pull it off, and I do think that happens with me all the time. I do feel like as almost every picture, there's something about it that makes me think I'm not going to be able to pull this one off. And sometimes it does happen that it works out, and sometimes it doesn't. And that's just part of the game. As I mentioned in the intro, a lot of times these small paintings can serve as a study for a bigger painting that you might want to do later on, whether it's in watercolor or oil or gouache, or, well, probably not gouache, but acrylic. So some of these smaller paintings are serve that purpose as far as preparing you and preparing me for the idea of doing a larger painting. So I did have a reference photo for this, by the way. I will show it to you if I can find it again. I put these things, what I do is a screenshot, and they're all saved as screenshots. So they don't have names. That's why I have a hard time sometimes finding them once I am done with it. So there's a really very nice poem that I found from a poet named Cicely Fox Smith. And I think while I'm painting here, I think I will read you the poem. Okay? Some of these waves. Alright, so let me read the poem. This is called The Smell of the Sea by Cicely Fox Smith. And I'll tell you a little bit about her after I read the poem, okay? I'd tramped the whole day long on the weary roads ashore. I was tired as a dog, and my heart was sick and sore. By strange towns and long roads I'd plodded wearily, with ne'er a soul to call my friend, and far from the sea. I climbed a hilly road in the driving, drenching rain. There was mist like a fleece lying thick upon the plain, and a wet west wind came blowing fresh
and free, with a damp feel on my forehead and a smell of the sea. Oh, how should I mistake it, or how name it wrong? What the heart of me was sick for all the weary road along. The white fog was before me as thick as it could be, but I knew my way was coastward and my face to the sea. Oh, the chill breath a-blowing and the salt on my lips, from the seaport and the roadstead and the straining sails of ships. Oh, the sharp scent of the golden weed about the grey stone quay, and the heart of me a-leaping at the smell of the sea. That's a great poem. It's written by Cicely Fox Smith. She was born February 1st, 1882. She passed away April 8th, 1954. According to Wikipedia, she was an English poet and writer. She was born in Lymm, Cheshire, and educated at Manchester High School for Girls. She briefly lived in Canada before returning to the United Kingdom shortly before the outbreak of World War I. She settled in Hampshire and began writing poetry, often with a nautical theme. In fact, I found a few poems by her that I could have used today. Cicely Fox Smith wrote over 600 poems in her life for a wide range of publications. In later life, she expanded her writing to a number of subjects, fiction and nonfiction. For her services to literature, the British government awarded her a small pension. Well, that's interesting. So, there you go. So as I'm painting here, I noticed that I'm trying to make the sea look more like the sea, trying to make it turbulent, and I'm intentionally adding some blue-greens, some greens and bluish greens and grays and watered down colors and more what do I want to say here? The watered down colors, makes it thin. The less watered down colors have more pigment. That's the word. Some more pigment. And the sky and the sea are really similar in how you paint them, and especially if it's a turbulent day. The sky is turbulent, the ocean is turbulent, and my choice of brushes was just something that would be able to do a small line like that right there, and also to be able to spread the water. Sometimes watercolor works almost by itself when you're painting the sky and the sea. They just kind of blend together, and if they don't blend together, then later on you can take a wet brush and smear it around and make it a little bit more misty, which was really the idea on this painting. And really a lot of what makes this painting come to life are the lines, the dark lines, the ropes and the cables that are on the ship. And then later on you'll see that I use gouache, white gouache, to create some of the white parts of the sea and some of the white parts of the sky, and even to adjust some of the sails that I didn't feel happy with. Yeah, so I've never been out on a ship that was being tossed around in the sea. I don't think I want to be. I've never been on a cruise. I've thought about it. Everybody tells me I should go. But I have been on a tall ship. there was one docked in Tampa, and they were allowing people to pay a little ticket price, and you could go on to the tall ship. And it was really similar to this one here. So, you know, let's get this mast in there. I'm talking on the tape. So, yeah, I was on one of those tall ships. Robin and I went with our friend Doug, and we went to the tall ship. It was very cool. Very cool to see it. Very, very amazing to imagine what life was like back in the days when these were the ships, the only ships that were out there. Okay, at this point I'm putting in the vertical lines, the masts of that holds the sails, and I'll be really, really gentle, trying to put the super thin lines in there for the ropes and the cables that are all over the place. I don't know how the sailors keep up with all those ropes, all those lines. So there was another time I was on a sailboat. It was a friend, and it was a nice sailboat. It had a little area for living quarters, and I actually got seasick a little bit. I felt myself needing to go someplace down in the hull, or whatever you call it, down in the bottom. I went down there and sat down for a little while to try to get over the feeling of being seasick. And that was fun. It was amazing to watch as he steered the ship, because he steered it, and I know there's a word for this, to make to use the wind to go against the wind. There's a word for that. I just don't remember what it is. Oh, what else? I don't think the only other boat I've been on is a pontoon boat or a canoe, or those little, touristy boats that they have in Disney World that take you across the lake. Oh, one time we rented these little tiny speedboats in Disney World. That was fun. Very small. And Robin and my son Alex and we all went out onto the water and zoomed around on those little boats. That was fun. But nothing like what this picture is showing. I've never been on a boat like this. I've never been in turbulent water. I really haven't ever been in turbulent air. I think I experienced turbulence in an airplane one time. Now, I have been on roads that had potholes in them. Does that count? I don't know if that counts or not. But I got so much, by the way, I wanted to say this. I got so many good compliments about the last ship I painted. And so I thought, well, I'll try to do another one. And the thing is this, there's no way that I can go get a reference photo myself. I'm not going to be out on the ocean waiting for the storm and trying to get a tall ship tossed around and then get a picture of it and then go home and paint it. No. But what I did try to do, rather than use another person's painting as a reference photo, I did try to use a photo. And to be honest with you, it looked like a photo, but I don't know. It could have been a photo. It could have been an AI thing. I don't really know. But I Googled, what I Googled was tall ship in a turbulent sea, and a bunch of pictures came up. So, I just wanted to do one. I didn't copy it exactly anyway. I'm not really good at copying things exactly. I really am not that good at that. And that might be a good thing for me. So, a lot of pictures I do, I will use photos that I've taken or photos that Robert has taken. But obviously, we didn't go out to the turbulent sea to get a photo of this. What I'm noticing at this point as I'm painting it is that there's a lot of areas on this painting that need touch-ups, need some white. So in a little while you'll see that I turn off the camera and I let it dry, and then I come back with a small brush and some white paint. And to be honest, some of the colors in the sale really should be more of an orange, like a very, very, very super light orange, almost white, but that little tint, a little hint of orange would give them that warmth that I feel like should be in this painting, but it's not in this painting. Even the finished one, I didn't put it in there. I was a little bit nervous, to be honest with you, about adding it, thinking I was going to ruin the painting. And really, you shouldn't do that. I shouldn't do that. I should always just go with what I feel, because it's just a small painting. It's 5x7, and if it's a sketch so that I have a reference for a larger painting sometime in the future, it really doesn't matter anyway. But as you know, I do give these cards away to friends and people who are identified by the church as being homebound or in going through hard times, or maybe even they've had a win in their life, a success. Maybe they had a baby. Maybe they graduated. Maybe they're heading off to sea. Let's hope they're not heading off to sea in a boat like this. And so then the church will send us these emails, and they'll indicate who out there might appreciate receiving a card. And most of the people who send cards buy them. They don't all paint them. Although I do think, because Robin paints the cards too, I do think we've hold on, something's happening here. No, I do think that we sort of started a trend in the church. I think a lot more people are painting cards.
I'm going to let it dry and I'll be right back. Okay, it should be dry by now. So what I want to do is I want to use the gouache to fix up some of the things I'm not so happy with in here. So I'm going to use a little bit of water and some white gouache. And let's see if I can make this a little bit better than it is right now. Just some of these areas that should be whiter or even there at all. I think I made a mistake a few times here. So I'm going to try to do this. And it does reactivate the paint underneath it, so that's important to know too. Just get some of these sails in there that I didn't quite get as good as I could have. Especially the back sails. That. A little bit of line here. There we go. I think that looks good. Got a little bit more area up here. There's a little bit of white right there. I'm going to use a smaller brush. Where's my... a little tiny brush. Whoop, that's not it. Where's the little one? Oh, here it is. Here's the little one. Okay, now, let's see if we can get some of these lines in here. Little tiny lines. A little bit of a reflection right there. Let's get some of these lines in the waves. The little caps on these waves here. Make this very wavy. Hopefully you can see it. Some of these big waves here crashing up on the back of the boat, the back of the ship. Still got some pencil marks on there. I'm going to try to cover them up with the gouache also. Yeah, gouache to the rescue when you have a watercolor painting that you didn't quite get right, especially with the light colors. And some of the fine lines, you can always use masking fluid, but the gouache works for me. Alright, I'm going to use a slightly bigger brush and get some of those waves right there. The white mist that's floating up into the air. It's being kicked up by the turbulent sea. And then we can add some white also into the sky, I think. Make some opening in those clouds. I kind of like the idea of some openings in the clouds. Just spread that around. It's kind of the same technique for the clouds as it is for the misty water here. Very stormy day, these on the sea, on the open sea. I don't know that I'd want to be on a boat that was going through this. And I think our picture is done. And maybe a little bit of touching up on some of these areas here. All right, let's fold it and call it a card. There we go. There's our tall ship in turbulent seas. All right, thank you for watching. Talk to you later. Bye.